have to imagine that the Big Ten games are great for television ratings with these games coming down to the wire. Penn State coming off a really close game at Iowa where they played well on the road. And for this game to be back and forth and our guys to stay with it when things weren't going well. We didn't shoot free throws during a very pivotal moment in the second half. We missed shots around the rim that we typically make. We missed some open threes, and for all that to happen and our guys not to drop their head and keep battling and fighting is a good sign going forward that they're poised. They're not resulting where they're looking at the scoreboard worried about what might happen. They're simply playing the game, taking in all the information, and despite us not clicking yet, we do feel like we're making steps in the right direction on the things that are the most important and that have the most staying power, which is communication, which is effort, things like that. So Vlad shouldn't have played tonight. He was ill. We appreciate him giving it a run. We got different contributions. I thought Sam Walters really stepped up in the second half. Obviously, Trey is going to get a lot of the attention for this game, but I thought Will Cheddar made a couple hustle plays late in the game, 2 offensive rebounds in one possession where I feel like we probably had about 7 shots and we finally got one to drop. But overall, just proud of our guys for staying the course. We're far from a finished product, but these games come at you quick, and we've got to keep focused. We got to stay focused on getting better, improving, and not getting too high or too low.
Eli, you want to start us off?
Yeah. These past couple of games, defensive intensity has been volatile a little bit. You got guys coming off the bench like LJ, and then some of your guards like Trey and Amari really boosted up the intensity of the bench. Can you talk a little bit about guard intensity defensively?
Yeah, I thought we had great carryover from practice where those guys were. I thought our ball pressure was better tonight. They're a tough cover. They get downhill. They have a couple of real unique matchups. Their bigs are good physical ball screeners. So we were on our heels a lot tonight. And so we overreacted a few times and gave up threes, but I thought our guys competed at a high level. You know, you look at Penn State season, most games have been like this. You know, they handled Purdue at home, completely dominated that game. They've been in position. It's just the margin of error in the Big Ten is extremely small, and when you look at the top of the conference, other than Michigan State, who's played incredibly well, it seems like most games could go either way, and the teams at the bottom have been in several one-possession games that they just didn't find a way to win.
Go straight in the back with Tom.
Yeah, Dusty, your biggest takeaway from the Purdue game was lack of physicality, and I talked to Ruben about that. You voiced that in practice, and Joe, I mean, how would you assess the uptick in physicality in this game, and how much further do you have to go in that game?
We've got a long way to go, but we do believe in incremental gains, marginal gains, a little bit day by day, and we did simplify our approach. We literally put 100% of our focus on passing, catching, getting open, and then our defensive energy, intensity, physicality, and really neglected. We typically add a counter. We typically try to tweak the Danny, Vlad, 4-5 combination, things like that. We stayed away from really everything, special situations the last couple of days, and literally just locked in and said, we're going to get better at these 2 things. And maybe us simplifying that approach helped. Maybe it's a matter of just, you never know when that bamboo is going to sprout up. You know, you've planted it and you're waiting. And so hopefully this is a good sign going forward, because Penn State turns you over better than anyone in our league except Purdue. So, that was definitely a major factor in us finding a way to win.
Tony?
Yeah, Dusty, down 5, like 100 seconds left or so, right? Kind of on the verge of 3 losses in 4 games, and Trey stopped short of calling it a season saver. But is there a way where a win or a finish like that can kind of feel like more than one? And I don't want to ask you like specifically about whatever you said in those late huddles, but just the vibe, who responded.
No, just thank goodness they weren't thinking about, oh, this could be our 3rd loss in 4 games, or we could look what happens if we, because those are that's the distracting information that causes teams to lose. We want them to be in the moment, time, score, what are we trying to do, who's guarding who. We want them to be thinking about all the things external that are important and nothing that's not important. So, no, and absolutely not. UConn, I think with their first national championship team a couple years ago, they lost 3 games in January, and then they regrouped. And sometimes it's matchups, sometimes it's health, sometimes it could be a lot of things. But we have a lot of meaningful games left to play, and we're not going to get too high because we won this one. And if we lost it, it definitely wouldn't have been. It would have been a greater challenge because you got to get off the mat again. But the difference in winning and losing, and this is kind of what our staff does a really good job of, is that our temperature doesn't change a lot. We're going to focus on the same things we need to do to get better in a win as we would have in a loss.
We'll go with Steve and then Chris.
Dusty, Trey said that he scores your last 7 points, but he says that the rebound is his favorite play down that stretch. Talk about that and talk about what he gave you in that stretch and over the whole game.
Well, Trey's had a couple end-of-game situations. I think it was the last game, overtime game here, where he got to the rim and it just didn't drop. Made a really nice play, 3 or 4 footer, hung on the rim, and it didn't drop. So for him to still have the confidence to want to take the big shots, I mean, his pull up off the sideline out of bounds was a high level shot. He elevated, raised up, knocked it in, and then the crowd really got into it when he made that shot. And I thought defensively, because of the energy in the building, it elevated our defense. It distracted them, and they made a turnover. And then, we'd had some success with the outside step-up ball screens, and so Danny in transition gave Trey a good hit, and they were pushing back on him. They were forcing him to take the jump shots, and he made a good decision, got to his go-to move and knocked it down, and then we went up in traffic and made a real rebound, and then came down and knocked down two huge free throws that. With 4 seconds left, anything can happen. So very, very proud of his confidence, his belief, his ability to stay the course. I mean, he continues to get better, and especially coming off the ankle injury where we didn't think he was going to play in LA, and he's still not 100%, but he's getting closer and closer. But we need his leadership. We need his ability to generate plays outside of our offense.
Chris.
You forced 18 turnovers. How much of getting better is forcing those turnovers? Can you just talk about the job you guys did there tonight?
Well, we've stressed that as well. I mean, part of the defensive focus was we weren't being disruptive enough. Teams were they were doing what they wanted to do, and that's what happened to us. The scout got out that if you let these guys move the ball and be comfortable, they can pick you apart. And if the game's in flow, they're really, really good. But if you can knock them off their spots, you can challenge everything. Purdue's not a team that's really denied and played the way they did against us. I thought they denied more passes than I had seen them in film, and they did it very, very well. They were determined to do it. But and so when we took a look at ourselves, we thought the same thing, that we're letting these teams be too comfortable against us. And are we willing to live with some of the mistakes, some of the downhill drives, because we are closer to them and we're trying to be a little more disruptive? And we decided that we are, but our guys in practice, they were disruptive, they were more physical, and we're still adjusting how the Big Ten games are being called, because each night's a little or a lot different. And so we've decided that we have to play with more physicality, and then if they're calling it, then we've got to have the mental fortitude to just back it off and play smarter.
Does that surprise you, the way games are called differently, or is that something that you expected coming into the league?
You hear scuttlebutt. You hear no. I throw it up. Let's play. We'll adjust how it's being called.
We'll go with Andrew and then John.
Dusty, I hear what you say about staying not too high or too low. But given how last game went for the team and for Trey, you sense it was extra important for him, to be so instrumental in the win.
Yeah, without a doubt. But I also think did we start out 6-0 in the Big Ten? 6-0 in the Big Ten. I think we were a little bit overconfident, and we didn't realize how difficult how much more difficult it was going to get game by game. So, I choose to usually look at the positive anyway. So I think this is great for his confidence and great for our belief in ourselves. If those shots wouldn't have went in and we lost this game, I'd be saying this is a great opportunity for us to get on the mat and go on the road and find a way to get this one back. And so. Just kind of that's my outlook. But yeah, I do believe his confidence is growing, and when you make those big shots, when you look at the percentage of the best clutch shooters in the history of basketball, they're usually like 30 to 40%. And so for him to step up and make 2 big shots and the free throws, I mean, it has to be good for his confidence going forward.
John.
One more on Trey. To go turnover free against that, what is that, I guess, safety about his?
To do what? I'm sorry, I missed.
To go turnover free on his part against that team.
It shows that he was conscious of valuing the basketball. He's a smart guy. The turnovers have been that's been our thing this year, and it's been as discouraging as anything. Just I guess more so because we shoot the ball well typically. We're top 30 in offensive rebounding until tonight. We probably dropped off a little bit tonight. And we feel like when our defense is set, we're a real sound, good, quality defensive team. And turnovers negate all three of the things that you do well as a team. So if we're going to max out as a group, then we're going to take care of the basketball better. And part of it is you're learning a new league, the physicality. You're learning teammates that you're thinking he's cutting when he might be spacing, whatever the case. And we probably have too much in our package right now as we've tried to figure out what we're going to do when the game slows down. So we have a lot of belief because of our guys' intentionality and who they are that we'll continue to get these things fixed. But we're not going to snap our fingers and be 100% better decision makers. We just got to work at it every day, and that's what we're focused on, are the decisions versus the results.
We'll take 3 more. We'll go Megan, Kellen, and then John.
2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, 18-9. 7 of those came from Trey. What did you like about the way your team was able to shoot the ball?
I thought we managed the pressure well. I do think when we got to the rim, we found shooters, and then especially off the offensive rebound, I thought we were just conscious of getting in the paint and kicking out for open looks. And then it seemed like there was a lid on the rim for about an 8 or 10 minute stretch in the second half, and for us to stay with it and continue to go at it and not drop our heads is once again a credit to our maturity and who we're becoming.
Kellen?
Penn State's last made field goal came with 3 minutes and 12 seconds left. You guys held them without a field goal those last 3 minutes. Talk about, I guess, how good that team defense was in those final few minutes, and do you feel like the team's defense is improving in these late close game moments?
Yes, and Vlad, I thought, had Kern was able to get downhill on us tonight at will. I mean, he's a tough cover, and we botched an assignment once or twice, but for the most part, he was dropping his head, and he's done this entire career. He's really good at it, and we had Vlad matched up on him late, and I thought Vlad did a nice job of maintaining good spacing and distance, and they had to get to the next thing. And prior to that, they were getting downhill. We were overreacting to penetration, and they were hitting fan-out threes. So I think it was a combination when we stopped the ball early, and therefore there wasn't the penetration and the overreaction to the penetration.
John, you want to close this out?
Yeah, you touched on the crowd tonight, and it was pretty deafening in the last couple of minutes. You're obviously not in charge of them, but to what extent did you notice, and are there ways to extend those spots where they're really boosting your guys?
Yes, I notice, and I don't notice a lot. Only when it gets really, really loud would I notice the crowd, and it erupted. It sounded comparatively to Mackey Arena, the way, you couldn't hear, and that helped our defense without a doubt. I think and what was the second part of the question?
Is there any secret to extending those stretches?
Yes, we're going to coach better and play better, and then they're going to get louder.
All right, Coach, thank you very much.
That's the only thing we can control. Thank you, guys.